In this segment, Stephanie Miller is joined by her guest to discuss the stakes of the coming election and the role honest journalism might play in the outcome. Here's Stephanie.
For 4 years, Donald Trump was the laziest and stupidest president in history by far, and now he is the laziest and stupidest presidential candidate in history. He is the only candidate for president today who did absolutely nothing today. There is no evidence that Donald Trump got out of bed today. He wouldn't have had to do that for the unhinged phone call he placed to the Fox propaganda network.
I get a kick out of one thing. They say, sir, be nice. You just got hit with a bullet. Maybe he's changed. Be nice. And I'd love to be nice, but I'm dealing against real garbage. When you hear that.
Yeah, once again, Lawrence O'Donnell did a great piece about how it's 2016 all over again. And it does feel like that. The bar has been so lowered for him. We just pretend like this Elon Musk, like hot, slurring, lisping mess didn't happen, right?
9 years later, have they not, they, as in the media and, broadly speaking, have not learned anything. And there continue to be these stories that treat him as a legitimate candidate and treat the lies that he expresses as if they represent his, campaign positions. The New York Times did a story in the last couple of days about Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, and the likelihood now that Trump says that, well, we're going to make something, and they put this in the headline, much better. Well, again, 9 years later, haven't we learned that he's a pathological liar and that he will say anything?
Well, and, our friend Rude Pundit threaded, so I got to learn about John Podesta's risotto tips and Hillary Clinton's Old Navy spam, but now corporate media has discovered some kind of weird effing ethical line. So, of course, now a warning, now they won't publish these, hacked emails from the Trump campaign, right?
Yeah. But, look, again, I think the more that happens, the more that the crazy stuff happens, I think what it does is it just paints more vividly the contrast between between the American pro-democracy ticket and the pro-autocracy, pro-Putin ticket. I think Americans, the more the amplification of the crazy stuff happens, I actually, at another time I might have thought like we should try to tamp it down a little bit. Let's not give it oxygen. Yeah. I actually think now more is better because it just reveals how off his rocker he is.
And our friend Dana Goldberg tweets, as of today, abortion rights will now be on the November ballot in Arizona and Missouri. Excellent job getting that done. Now get out and vote. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a factor. If people think that the fall of Roe is not going to still be a huge factor.
100%. I think everywhere in the country, it's going to be energizing. Surely everywhere where it's on the ballot, but I think well beyond that, people understand it's, we're in this moment where the binary choice couldn't be more obvious. It's almost, somebody said to me, it's almost like a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, between, and I tend not to talk about like good versus evil, but my God, I mean, we're at this point where the cartoon distinctions couldn't be more obvious.
Yes, and was there a moment where it was like, maybe if I pick a vice presidential candidate that is so repulsive to women, that will alienate broad swaths, maybe that will help. Oh my God. I mean, seriously, J.D. Vance, worst VP pick in history, I think.
Look, I'm glad that he's chosen because it reveals who Donald Trump is, right? The quality of his thinking, and he has never spoken about the possibility that J.D. Vance could be sitting in the president's seat, right? He's refused to even acknowledge that he's ready for the job.
Yeah. Your piece, Working for the Common Good, just your headline this morning, I thought, oh my God, that's like a concept that had seemed to be lost. But you said, I've been lingering for the last few days on the remarks Tim Walz made during the Wisconsin rally, his unscripted words, which I think struck all of us when he said, we have someone down, they're treating him, they're getting him some water, and it's good. Take care of your neighbors. Take care of one another. He said, this idea of caring for a neighbor, a kindness, a hand up when someone needs it, that's who we are. I mean, that kind of sums up where we are in America today, right? I mean, I think Jamie Like Jamie Raskin said, it's
vividly provides a contrast, with the other guys, right? I mean, I think one of the things, the effort to try to paint this ticket as somehow crazy radicals or somehow dangerous extremists, wild-eyed liberals who are going to, destroy America. And then you meet Tim Walz, right? He's a human. He's the guy at your, hardware store, your neighbor that you're happy to bump into, right? He's the father that everyone wants to have. He's the teacher that everyone loves. There's this guy who may be, I think, the most instantly likable politician that I've maybe ever seen. And so, then he embodies this idea of basic kind of humanness, decency. I mean, the first time I really paid attention to him was when he was delivering the line after being told that one of his extreme liberal policies was to focus on free school lunch and free school breakfast. And he answered, "What a monster."
Yes.
Right?
I said that to Chef's Kiss, just perfect. But, to your point about this is who we are, Jamie Raskin says it. It's not anymore about who Donald Trump is. It's who we are. And we're going to find out, are we who Coach Walz said we are? Who he was in that moment that was unscripted, right?
Yeah, I mean, the amount of sort of pent-up energy that's been released in these last 3 weeks, and then to embody it in this kind of joyfulness, and the exuberant response, right? The 15,000 plus people that showed up in Detroit or showed up in Arizona, and I'm sure there are much larger events to Donald Trump's great horror that are coming, and all of this together indicates that people have been wanting a way to express what they've been feeling, and not just to, and I do it a lot, I mean, to sort of attack the darkness and the grievance and the carnage and the hatefulness and the violence and all of that, but to remember the other side of things. And we're in this, beautiful moment, this kind of pro-democracy human moment that I think, the country, the large majority, is so grateful for.
Well, you use the word joyful here, the joyful appeal of Iris Walz. Everyone's using that word because it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard me talking about, Sexy Liberal Tour. I've often said it's joyful because people so need to laugh, because that's where we're taking our power back. It's, as someone said, joy is its own form of resistance. That's what we're countering, as you say in your piece, their fear and hatred and darkness with. And it really is like the forces of light and dark. I mean, and
can I say, I mean, it's just, again, this sort of notion that all of the discussion that will come about policy, and it needs to, the ways in which progressive values sort of demonstrate a commitment to common good and a better America. But what Walz has done, and I think Kamala Harris was extremely wise to choose him in this regard, is that he embodies sort of in the way he behaves, not only in that unscripted moment when somebody was collapsed because of the heat, but there's a sort of a photograph that I had posted, which was when he and Kamala came to Wisconsin, and they were met by a group of Girl Scouts. And
I highlighted that in your piece. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what did he do?
Yeah.
He squatted down so he would be at the same eye level of those little girls. And, I just mentioned it as sort of an indication of a compassionate human. And that particular post is, and I've shared it in different places, it's just exploded. And I think it's exploded because people want to be reminded of sort of basic human decency.
Yeah.